Hi, I'm hungry as I am recording this video. This has nothing to do with the video, I'm just saying that because it's true, and it's making me angry. Ah! What's up, homies? I'm back from the depths of my
trailer. Whoa!
For another round of those sweet little best of the year videos that you guys love so much. But this time, there's a twist. No. Remove the ER. Okay, good. Anyway, it's actually coming out on time. Crazy, huh? It's time to talk about the best and the worst this year has to offer. The worst first though. I don't want to make videos on the worst albums and songs of the year because, well, do you think I want to hear stuff like that? Or that? Or that? Or even that? Because I don't. Fuck off. But at least I'll talk about the worst album and song I've heard this year, just to keep the tradition. Starting with the worst album, and boy, this one is pretty much on the same level as the previous albums I named the worst of the year. An album so stupid, pointless, and unnecessary that frankly, I don't freaking understand how a sane mind could think this project would be worth a thing. I'm talking about The Dark Side of the Moon, Redux, by Roger Waters. I feel like the best way to describe this project is like, well, you know Potato Jesus? So imagine if it was made by the original painter of the image. I just don't say it's entirely accurate because at least when I look at Potato Jesus, I get the big funny. I go ha ha ha. I am giggling of amusement due to funny JPEG. For Dark Side Redux, I don't get the big funny, it makes me angry. It's a deadpan reinterpretation of the original that has the lamest and most boring instrumentals and has the energy of an overconfident art student that heard for the first time the first 5 seconds of Breathe in the Air and said, I can do better. Guess what? You can't. The main offender to many people in this Redux was the new version of Money, which, yeah, it sucks a little more than the rest of the records. But I do believe there's an even bigger storm in the way of this album. The new version of Time. You know what? I'll let Kazuma Kiryu from the popular video game series Yakuza do the speaking for me. The action you performed is relatable, KK. And it was close, but this song almost won Worst Song of the Year to me. It didn't because of honestly something that's a way bigger low-hanging fruit than this. Instead of making me go, it actually makes me go,
Oh, fuck!
Anyway, remember this, clown?
Gucci gang.
Yep, Lil Pumpy. Yep, Lil Pump. Pumpy Gazzy himself. He released a new album this year that I didn't listen. Why the hell would I? But not long after it came out, a friend of mine made me catch up with one of the songs of the records. I feel like I don't need to say more, right? Yeah, I'm talking about punk rock x heavy metal. And you know what? Another reason why I was in doubt between choosing this over Time is because this song actually made me have a positive reaction when I first heard it, because I bursted out laughing. This song is hilarious. But then, I listened to the whole song and realized this joke wears out pretty fast. To starters, this song opens with Pumpo Jumbo here uttering a face-melting scream. Check this out. Ay! That literally sounds like a nuder version of this.
An ice cream, remove the stick,
You still got the stick in your hand,
and now you can prepare yourself for a healthy journey.
And what follows is what reminds me of the reasons why some people still like to go to circuses. They go there to see the clowns do funny things and make them do the good old ha 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 ha. But if you have this song, you don't have to give your money to wacky circuses, as you'll be ha 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 in the comfort of your own home. Get ready to see all the circuses of the world going bankrupt. Except, not really. Circuses are safe because...
Oh, it got worse!
After that, the verse actually begins, and you'll notice that the fun is only at the beginning. And what follows is one of the most monotonous songs of the year. You spend the entire time expecting for the funny part to return, but it never does. And in the end, you basically feel like you wasted your time that you could have spent eating a fucking bagel listening to another lame-ass Lil Pump track. It's basically the music equivalent of those pictures of asshole sandwiches you find on the internet, with filling just in the corner so it fools you into buying it even though the middle is completely hollow. Or if you want to keep the circus metaphors, it's like you buy a ticket for the 30-minute show and the clowns do their funny stuff for like 2 minutes, and the remainder of the 28 minutes is just a JPEG of a house in the middle of the stage. I'm losing my mind. Let's talk about the good stuff now. Best EPs of the year! Woo! That segment took way longer than I thought. So because of that, I'll just breeze through the first half of the list and only start going properly in depth in the top 5. Yes, Fantano style. Judge me, I don't care. I know where you live, David. Check this out. Woo! Okay, now to the list. Number 10, baby! That spot goes to Extra Life by Crushed, a newcomer American dream pop duo that just released their first project. And by the looks of it, we're in for some good shit coming. Also, it has trip-hop influences, which immediately makes me a sucker for. Number 9 in German. Hold on, let me read this. Blackbox live recorded 21F/In a Room 7F760 by Aphex Twin. I feel like the odd one out here because apparently people weren't all that crazy about this EP. And its inclusion here gives the impression that I'm a massive Richard Sand fan. But I like some of his albums, but I'm more of a Boards of Canada guy myself, and not gonna lie, I think this is only behind Analord 10 in my ranking of the projects I've heard from him so far. Blasphemies aside, number Envy of Nuns, that was then, this is now. If you don't know these fellas, they are Alex Lifesong's new band. They released an album in 2022, it was a fun time, but I actually think this EP was where they really shined. And based on the album cover, I thought it was leftovers of their debut, but upon research, it seems to be actual new material, which I mean, makes sense. Why the hell would you leave your best material out of the album? Duh! It's 7 time. And the EP we are talking about is Destruction for Dummies Part 2 by Dawson. And once again, not being blasphemous, as JD dropped 2 EPs this year, and everyone's favorite seems to be the first one, Escape. I thought that one was decent, not much to say here, but the second one is where it's at for me. Simply because it has 3 songs that made me go, woo! Crazy, huh? Now number 6. We have an EP that I was sure was going to make the top 5 this year. Going Gone by Hemlocke Springs. Hear me out. This girl is going to be major, at least in the internet circle in the next few years. Some of the most creative and charismatic pop songs that came out this year. Look at her beating the competition. Now, let's go more in depth in the top 5. And to start that out, we have one for the angry LGBT fellas around the world. Ada Rook's Rookie's Bustle, a collection of 7 songs Ada recorded between 2019 and 2023. Despite the production time length, it's a surprisingly cohesive collection of tracks. As Ada herself said, they ended up finding a home in each other. And remember when I said this was for the angry LGBT fellas? So just for once, sit down, get a nice chamomile tea, and let the angriness dissipate, as this project behaves in a very different way than what you might expect. Sure, she still growls and yells here, and the lyrics she is known for, about self-loathing, panic, grief, death, despair, the 4 horsemen, or going to a Waffle House, are here. But in the last couple of songs of the project, the mood sorta improves. It still acknowledges all in the past, but it leaves room for optimism, especially the last 2 songs that I can't believe I'm about to say that, about an Ada Rook track, are so damn wholesome. Look at those lyrics, it's so cute! Heck, maybe because of this aspect, this might end up being a good way to get into Ada or even Black Dress's music, as sound-wise, this isn't too far off from what they usually do, so give it a chance. Now for number 4, we go from a dense and heavy LGBTQ release to another. It's now time to talk about Exist Within Light by Vokonis. Vokonis is a band that I've been following for several years now. They are a great stoner slash doom slash sludge slash prog metal band that hails all the way from Rotten Fish and a Can Land. If that interests you, check out their 2019 album Grasping Time. It's awesome. But if you want something shorter, this new EP of theirs can also do the job with ease. It's very much what we grew to expect from the band sound-wise. Loud, in-your-face screams with a plethora of guitar riffs that are ready to make your great-grandma's skin melt. Just kidding, it's not that heavy. But it does pack a pretty intense punch. There is basically 0 moments wasted. It's always doing something that gets your attention, be it the fantastic drumming in the first verse of Revengeful, or the quieter contrast of the title track. This thing is a zero bullshit, all killer, no filler EP. That landing at number 4 only proves this year was absolutely packed with great EPs. Or mini albums, as the K-popers like to call. And hey, that reminds me, we haven't seen any K-pop in this list, have we? Well, then I guess it's time to do the transition from this corny-ass segue to the bronze spot of the podium, with the best K-pop project of the year, Cabin Fever by Purple Kiss. Every year I seem to find out more and more interesting K-pop acts around, and while boy groups tend to get me more when it comes to individual songs, foreshadowing of my best songs of the year list, the girl groups normally get me more in full-length projects, and Cabin Fever is a major proof of that, as literally every track shines bright in here. Not only they're all good songs, but each one has its own very clear identity. Sweet Juice is a glorious big single, with some amazing strings and a strong hip-hop beat in the background. Take sounds more serious, and is more electronic heavy. Autopilot has a more techno vibe to it, and it makes me want to go run in a park or something. Agit, I think that's how you say it, is the most synth-heavy track on the project, with also a great shout out to the really nice bass laps in here. And finally, So Far So Good, the mandatory ballad, which is also a really good piece of music. So yeah, this might be the best K-pop project I've ever heard. Wait, might or is? Yeah, screw it, this is the best K-pop project I've ever heard. Now number 2. Guess what, guess what, guess what? It's time for your lousy ass to come to Brazil! Anyway, welcome to Brazil. Here's my number 2 EP of the year, Zelena by YMA Jadsa. A collaborative EP. To clarify, YMA and Jadsa are both pretty niche artists, even here in Brazil. The first is a pretty talented dream pop singer, and the other is a more experimental MPB artist with lots of rock influence. I'm not particularly crazy about their stuff aside from a couple of tracks, but when we combine both together, we seem to marry the best of both worlds, as the best songs these two ever put out are present here. What we got is a beautiful psychedelic piece of art rock and pop. You feel entranced in the softer tracks, and moves along to the more energetic ones. And let's not forget how catchy some of these tracks can be. Match dance? Listen to that and you'll have a Zelena-shaped gum stuck to your tympanus, and you will like it. Marshall's Emporium do not support the insertion of bubble gums in your ears. If you do that, you're an idiot and it's not my fault. I also like how the style of the singers mix well in a really nice way. They both are vocalists that tend to give pretty smooth performances, but YMA does that in a more curvaceous way, if that makes sense. It's like her voice floats with the wind like a feather, while Jadsa's performances have a stronger body to it. I don't know if it worked to put my sentiments toward their performances as I wanted, but to put it short, both good. That's right, I never said I was a music critic, I'm just a dumbass that likes music. And talking about liking music, here's a completely not cheap segue to the honorable mentions, as I like music so much that I couldn't help but give some extra love to these fellas here. I am appalled I couldn't fit the Salute EP in this list. It was really narrow between this and the Crushed one, but if you love some fast-paced garage tracks, this is a full course meal for you. Consider this number 11. And even more shocking is that this thing didn't make the cut and I already used my number 11 cards. For real, several of my favorite songs by her are in here. I normally don't buy when artists this young tend to go like, oh, this is going to be my last project, see you later, the Liberator, But if this is in fact Yukika's final project, at least I can say it was a beautiful swan song. Or rather, swan EP. This one just didn't make the list because it's extra tracks from an album I'll probably discuss in my best albums list. I don't know, I haven't made the list yet. Melt Yourself Down taught me to always leave these things to the last minute possible. And finally, Alice Longyu takes the final spot of the honorable mentions. I personally find it a bit presumptuous, but that doesn't deny this is one of the most impactful releases of the year. I get why Millennial Men like this so much. And now, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. It's time for the best EP of the year. What is it? Noctnaria? Get Up? Is it Become? Flying High? Fuck You is Stimulus by Gyrofield. Okay, I feel like now people are confused AF about this. Like, who is this unknown artist and non-YouTuber that I should subscribe to? And I can answer that. Gyrofield is a musical project by Kiana Lee, an electronic music producer from Hong Kong that has done a lot of pretty diverse glitch-oriented material, ranging from ethereal ambient music to... And this Stimulus project here very much lays on the side of... According to Rachel Music, the genre of this EP is neurofunk, which I never even heard of, but I already love it. Basically, to sum up this project, frantic glitch music being pushed and squished even more than it usually is. But add a nice touch of a pretty clean production, and we have this EP. And if you know me, then you also know this is basically Marshall bait. I love electronic music in general, but my favorite ones are both trip-hop oriented depressive shit or... And all of the songs in here pack up such a punch. The biggest highlight here has to be Femme Fatale, with its insane bass boost. You know the Twitter page Random Videos with Breakcore? So imagine that, but with songs from this EP instead. Now this is what the internet was made for. If you love this kind of mechanical, hyperactive beats like I do, I hope this does it for you. It certainly did for me. I mean, my favorite EP of the year, who could have guessed? Anyway, that was the video. Now I'm off to... downtown. See you in a couple of days, I hope. Bye bye!